Alright guys, you guys have known me. I've done extensive videos on various kits that I've built or modified. There's all sorts of packaging I've used over the years for all sorts of stuff. These kits that I've done a 3-part series on, and really, I'm probably not going to go through every single item. Even though I enjoy it, I don't know if I could sit and watch a video who goes through every little pouch. I do get quite a bit of requests, especially from one gentleman, to go over the modified backpacker kit that I did years ago. It was one of the first videos I went over this. But again, very methodical, sort of boring video of me going through piece by piece what I carry and how I've modified my first aid kits over the years. Now you'll see this one is empty. And one of the things I did is these little ones that I've done the video on, these are more, they have a little bit of everything in them. It's first aid, it's shelter, ponchos, emergency blanket, hand warmers, it has fire starting abilities, a little bit of everything, a little bit of flashlights, tape, you name it. Very little powerful kit. I like carrying it. You'll almost always see me with some sort of version of that in my packs, even day packs. I used to carry one as an EDC in the front of the Maxpedition. Today's video is going to go over this guy right here, and part of it has been modified from that REI backpacker one. You know that I love little bags, and that I keep things fairly organized. I even have a video under all my bug out series. It's the one video I get the most comments about why I have everything in these little storage bins. And it really kind of cracks me up. The video, it's called Bug Out Gear, hyphenated, and it's just talking about all the different preparations and the levels of preparedness that I use. And that video is called Organize Your Gear. And that's the reason. I do have a container of just bags for organization. I have a container with the leftover remnants of different kits. I have a couple that are a little bit more organized than this. I actually have several that are just dedicated to first aid. This one actually has some whole kits that I haven't broken down. This is a complete wound closure. This one is part of the survival kit. But as I use them, I replenish, I pull things from other kits, and that's kind of what we're going to do today. But it cracks me up, the comments I get over, if that's not a bug out bag, that's, a bunch of crap in a box, you've got way too much stuff, you'll never be able to carry that. Well, that wasn't really the whole idea. If you watch the video and you listen to the video was people that are preparedness, people that, like me, who I would go buy a couple of these because they were $9 and they're a very good starter base kit. Now you can augment it all you want, but even if you never did, for $9, a great case. It had everything you needed, a little bit of stomach, a little bit of band-aids, a little bit of first aid, some bigger gauze. It had, the emergency blanket. That's a great little kit to start with. And so as time and money allowed, next time I was at the store that carried those, well, you know what? Pick up another one. It's the what ifs, it's the, hey, I might need it someday. If I use enough band-aids out of one kit, you know what, then I can replenish them. And that's why I did the Organize Your Gear video. So it still cracks me up to this day that I get comments like this. Now this one, initially, the goal of this bag was to get a lot of stuff in this bag. I would take the 2x2s and the 3x3s and I would label them with, say, a brand new thing of 48 capsules of anti-diarrheal. I would go buy a cheaper thing of aspirin, maybe some Tums, some eye wash, some ibuprofen. I've got these a little bit off camera because I may need to refill some of these kits. And when I do, I don't like to mix them. I'll keep the same expiration date. So I'll make that call whether I need to pull out the old ones and to put it in more in an EDC roll or put it into the bedroom cabinet to use as every day, or whether I should put it back into this bag. But this bag has been used several times. Over the last 6 months, I'd say probably a dozen times I've dipped into this bag. So today's video not only is going over for you, it's not only going to be an entry into the survival medicines contest where you go over your first aid kit. He's having a contest for a book, and but I've gotten a lot of comments wanting to know what happened to that backpacker one, whether I improved it, because I believe I mentioned in several comments to folks that I'd changed things up a bit, and this is what it ended up being. Feel free to leave your comments of maybe what I'm missing, but keep in mind, I know things are missing. I know things are missing because it fits way too comfortably shut. The zippers close easily. When I first built this kit, and just to give you a quick overview, you know me, and I'm a huge advocate for CPR, so this is where I keep my full mask, CPR mask stuff, the germicidal wipes and aspirin. I keep on the outside in a brightly colored bag, and it's just easier to get to. That's going to be probably the biggest thing I'm going to need to grab. So again, this was designed to be a augmented kit for my bug out bag. I have a very small limited kit in my bug out bag, but if I have the time and the weight, I really like to carry it. This is a cheaper than dirt bag. I don't know if you can get them loaded, but you can get them empty for like $9. It has a little bit cheaper snaps, the MOLLE closures on the back. It does have some D-rings, so you can make a strap for them, and it's got the handle right here. This lately has been my truck kit. So this kit was designed to augment my bug out kit. I have a small first aid kit in there, but I want to have a lot of firepower in here. So you're not going to see a whole lot of things labeled. You're not going to see, this isn't a trauma kit. This isn't a, you know, any specific first aid kit, but I was trying to get as many things into this bag as possible. And that's the reason I know I've used this enough and I'm missing things. You know, I had a really bad burn on my finger earlier before the holidays. It's been used several times. I know I'm missing gauze. I know I'm missing some eye sterile solution. I know I'm missing several things, and like I said, I know I'm missing them because there's room in here. When I first built this kit, I couldn't get these zippers shut. So I'm going to go over this, but again, feel free to comment. I don't mind if you comment about things that I'm missing. We have some ibuprofen. Keep in mind, this is the dosage of the milligrams. I have expiration date on here, and I also have a small directions on here. It's all written in Sharpie, so some of it's getting a little worn, but that's kind of what we're going over today. So as we pull out this first pouch, the first pouch is primarily pills and small bandages. Adjust the camera down here. Not sure why we're tilted. So we have a little bit of ibuprofen. We have a little bit of Loridane, which is the newer non-drowsy indoor-outdoor allergies. I have a mix of the daytime and nighttime NyQuil tablets. I have a couple of sleep tablets. I've used actually these a couple times. You can see I'm getting low on here, and that's basically like nighttime drowsy medicine. Acetaminophen, another great painkiller. A big thing of allergies. This was actually from Costco. It was like $9 for 365 tablets. So you had one tablet, 24-hour pill, you know, pretty much every day. I do have a couple of ammonia poppers. I have a little bit of hand sanitizer. This is the non-alcohol version, which, you know, you could take it or leave it. The alcohol one is nice. Small bandages. And again, a lot of these things were ones that I had transferred from the way I organized some of these bins. Ones that weren't extra or backups. So that's kind of what you're going to see. A lot of these is, there's a couple Theraflus. These are the little strips you just put on your tongue. Very nice to have. Sinus decongestant. Sorry if the light's kind of getting a little blinded on there. Condoms, always a good thing. These are called Fisherman's Friend. Great throat lozenge. Doesn't have a lot of sugar in it. Very tiny band-aids. Again, everything is in a container. This is slightly waterproof, but you know, it helps organize it. Things come out easier. This is actually the silver iodite, which is great for burns. You have to get it through the hospital. You won't get it over the counter, but terrific burn cream. A little bit bigger band-aids. Here's some waterproof band-aids, but they're also the little kids one. I've spoke to this before. You know, I've got some Dora the Explorer, I've got some Nemo ones. It's nice to be able to pull out a very cool tattoo band-aid to administer to a kid. It just cheers them up a little bit. Little comfort items. I have Altoid Strips Cinnamon. I have a Listerine. I have, these are Ricola, the tiny little drops you get right at the checkout stand. Colored little throat lozenges, but they're all in the tiny lightweight strips that you just put under your tongue. Eliminates a lot of the bulk. Bigger, larger band-aids. These are your strips for wound closure. There's some H band-aids for knuckles and stuff, a little bit of extra medium-sized band-aids. Here is a bamboo towel. You just soak it and instantly you got a big towel. And you can tell there's a few wrappers in the bottom here. So this kit has been used. There's the Ricola Mini Natural Drops. This is just another pack I probably bought one day and shoved in there instead of putting in there. They're a different date, so I need to use the ones that are in the plastic first. Now I will tell you, this kit is not going to be very good for somebody who comes upon this kit to use. I don't have it marked first aid, nothing is really labeled, I know what things are, so maybe it's not totally ideal for everyone. But I'm going to leave this out just the way it is and go to the next pouch. Simply see if we can come back a little bit here, just so you can kind of get an idea of the mass of things that I've been enabled to incorporate in here. I've got this labeled non-sterile gauze, but it was just bulk gauze that I had. Now, you know, anyone in the medical field will tell you anytime you take anything out of wrapper, it's going to be non-sterile anyway. Let's skip over that. Well, this bag here is a lot of those you know, corporate type kits that you get. Here's a bunch of pain stoppers. This is actually acetaminophen and caffeine and a couple other things. They use them primarily in restaurants is where I got them. A bunch of little swabs of the medicated first aid treatment with aloe. So basically cuts, scrapes, that kind of thing. Very mild topical cream. Here's some hydrocortisones. And again, when I was doing the organization kit, this is the reason I was taking a bunch of kits that I had as extra, and I was taking all the hydrocortisones and putting it in one little pouch. And it just gives me more firepower. I know where all this stuff is. This is just standard hay fever medicine. The other neat thing is if you keep them in the pouch, then you've got a little bit more to go on. If you know this is acetaminophen and that's acetaminophen, but maybe I didn't write all the descriptions of side effects or you know, interactions with other chemicals, you've got, you know, the actual main version in here, which is a pretty good guideline to go by. What else do we got in here? Afterbite sting relief for insects, spiders, that sort of thing. This is just straight pain reliever. This is Iprin. These are all basically versions of the ibuprofen. They all have a little bit different names. This is the alcohol prep pads. I've separated out the benzoate chloride pads. This is just an actual pain reliever, acetafen, another, you know, generic name version of it. Let's put the bag to the side. Going to get into some larger band-aids in this one. You can see these are quite a bit larger, but some of these are getting a little bit old. There's Rite Aids. There's going to be different brands that you're going to see as we go through here. And again, it's just different kits that were put together. I did keep this separate. Some kits came with an eye pad, which is kind of handy. But if you know anything about eye wounds, you're going to have to cover both eyes. Both your eyes track left to right, and if you got one wounded, every time you move this one, that one's going to move and irritate it more. So really, just it's good to bandage the whole person. If you're stuck by yourself, yeah, it'd be nice to have an eye pad, because you're obviously not going to close your eyes and try and wander out blindly in the woods. But these are 2x2 gauze. Again, sort of just put together with a bunch of other kits. These are kind of interesting. I was tempted to take these out of the package. They're called blood sop, but they're really only just about that big. They're tiny little guys, and they're just meant, if you've got a cut, you put them on there and it sort of dissolves into this gooey gel. They work. They're pretty handy, but the packaging is ridiculous for the size. More 2x2 gauze. This package is various iron pills. I'm slightly iron deficient depending on my diet. So I carry those just for a personal thing. You're not going to have anyone run up to you going, "Do you have iron pills?" And be like, "Yes, I do." They're going to be like, "Why?" In here is a little bit different kit. There's a pouch behind here. Make sure I'm on camera here. And it's a little bit difficult to get to, so let's pull this other one out. It only has a couple flat items in there anyway. Make sure you can see in there. It's where I keep a lot of stuff. Here's some big wet ones. I've spoke to these before. I know that it's not exactly the same, but it's a very similar benzoate chloride. Very good germicidal wipe. 99.9 of germs, all that kind of good stuff. I got a vet wrap in there, and again, if you take the cardboard out and flatten them, you can even wrap perpendicular to them and they'll stay in a nice flat package. One advice: do not cut these down. They will not work, they'll tear apart. Bad idea. Here's a 3-inch sterile gauze wrap. I do have a 5-hour energy in here. This is a small military spec gauze, very tightly wrapped gauze, but it makes a lot of material. We're getting into some USNER doc influence here. So I'd take all the Surgy pads I had. These are 5x9. There's about 10 or 12 of them in there, and nice small package. Now luckily I haven't had to dip into these. This is some serious bleeding wound control here. But in order to be able to get everything into this kit, I can easily rip that open and grab one. It's not a big deal. But when I'm not using it, it stays drier, it's compact, it allows me to store more stuff in this back one. You're going to see I did the same thing with the 4x4 toppers. These are basically just thicker 4x4 gauzes than your standard. I do have a sort of blister kit, a lot of different moleskin. I also have the Adventure Medical Kit, Glacier. They have different, not just different sizes of moleskin, but different sizes of this protective gel that's super comfortable, very cooling, especially because you've got hot spots. Anytime you get a little bit of hot spot before it develops into a blister, hit it with one of these Glacier pads. I'm telling you, lifesaver, especially if you're, you know, humping out in your bug out ruck. Good sturdy pair of, you know, shears. Always important. Couple forceps. I do have, these are my suture kits. These are a little bit older and they're not ideal. These were purchased at a military surplus, but I always thought it was nice to have. This Chromin Guts, this is 2-aught. I think I got some 3-aughts in here, but they're also absorbable, and I don't really prefer their silk 3-aught down there. You really kind of want the non-absorbable ones, due to, especially if you're not comfortable doing sutures, you shouldn't be doing them in any way. But the ones that can absorb it tend to get a little bit better, or worse at getting bacteria and infections. So there is some various medical tapes down here. I have a separate piece that you'll see is sort of sweating. I took this out of my truck. It's very cold outside. It's a germicide wipe here and a thing of benzoate compound tincture. These are some of the bigger refill kits you can get, but with the room in here I wanted a little bit bigger kit. Initially in there was, this was one that I've had for a very long time and I should replace it because it has expired, but I haven't used it. It is a sterile eye wash, and the smaller eye wash that I had I used, so I may be putting this in here to replace it until I can get a replacement for this one since it's expired. Initially that big one was from a pet first aid kit that I had purchased, and yeah, I actually traded it out in my other kit a long time ago because I wanted the bigger one in my kit and the smaller one in the dog's kit. So this is a really neat product, and you really should have some sort of burn cream. You notice I didn't have little packets. I used all the little packets of the burn gel that I had on my hand, and it does wonders for soothing the area. It's not going to work, I don't know, it's not a perfect burn kit, but it does soothe it somewhat. There is some sort of numbing action in there. I'm not speaking very well today, but so you can see in here, this little pouch in here, it's a little bit easier to get to now that it's empty, but I have various quick clots in here. Obviously if I needed to get in there I could, and I also have that has been vacuum sealed in just the bag version, and duct taped over that hole. I spoke to that in my Ziploc bag video. These things just leak a little bit, so I duct tape it, and you can see this has been in for a couple years now, and it's holding its seal. This is one of my big tests, but it's not sealed. This is just the Ziploc bag sealed with that hand pump, and then duct taped over that one-way check valve to keep the air from coming back in. And these are N95 masks. I think that's it in there. So that pretty much covers it. Let me lift you up here. You know, it's a lot of stuff in a tiny little bag. Keeping things in these little bags, like I said, keeps it organized. I like keeping some of the generic office stuff in their little pouches for the information they provide without having to peel off labels and insert them into here. So I'm going to be double checking over my list, adding a few things: Alka-Seltzer, some antidiarrheals I don't have in here. Also don't have any Tums or anything like that. Some luxury comfort items that I could squeeze in here. You saw I had a little bit more room, and when I built the kit, I had a hard time closing those zippers. But for the cheap pack, I would say it does pretty good. Feel free to comment. Thank you for your time.